Supporting farmers are whining that the USAID is withholding funds for farmers for conservation programs. The farmers are learning that their conservation payments are frozen because those contracts were funded through the Inflation Reduction Act. You know that thing that they hated that Biden got passed? Oh, but y'all benefited from that, huh? Skylar Holden is a cattle producer in eastern Missouri. You know, the state that voted for Donald Trump over Vice President Kamala Harris. He shared his story, his whining, crying story on TikTok.
I need your help to save my farm and many other farms. I wanted to give you guys an update on what we figured out with our contract through NRCS. So to give you some backstory, if you haven't watched the previous video, please go out, watch that previous video I've got on there. We are possibly going to lose our farm if NRCS doesn't hold up their contract with us on the EQIP program. So the reason that they're not able to hold up the contract is our EQIP program, which is cost sharing on fences, waters, a well, and some seedings, was funded by the Inflation Reduction Act. Because of the executive orders, there's a pause or a freeze on the funding through the Inflation Reduction Act, and they're not able to pay out on the stuff that we completed or anything going forward. But the issue I have is I've already done a bunch of the work, already paid for the material, already paid for the labor, so I'm out all that cost, and I use my farm operating expenses in order to do those projects, because per contract, I knew that I was going to get cost-sharing refunds on the stuff once completed, but now that it's completed, they're saying that they're unable to provide the funds because of the freeze on the Inflation Reduction Act funds. So I reached out to a couple different senators and Congress people. So I reached out to Ann Wagner's office. I have not heard back from them. I reached out to Josh Hawley's office. I have heard back from him, not from him personally, but from his office. And they are looking into it because they said that this should not be happening. The intention was not to take away the funding from the farmers, but doing the Inflation Reduction Act, cutting those costs, then it's also taken away from the programs that those programs helped out. So it's in the works, but what I need from you guys is if you could please share this, tag your representatives, tag your senators. I need to get some ground on this because I'm not the only one this is affecting. So there are other farmers in the comments saying that they're in the same boat that I'm in because they signed these contracts, and the contracts, so whenever I looked into the contract, I made sure that that funding was set aside. It wasn't funding that, we hope it's there whenever it's done. I made sure that that funding was set aside so that way before I made these business decisions, I knew that funding was there per contract. So they're backing out on the contract because they don't have the funding. They can't release the funds. So please tag the representatives. Please tag the senators. I need to get some ground on this. We need to help me and other farmers out. We've got to get this funding paid out. I don't care if they don't do it in the future. The problem is there was contracts in place. Multiple farms made business decisions, and multiple farms are going to sink if we don't get traction on this and get those funds unfrozen.
You're wrong for that, Roland.
I'm just broken apart that, he did all this work and he's not getting his money. And I'm just torn apart that, he called his senator, Josh Hawley, to help him out of this. And I guess I'm really sad by this because if you go to my iPad, these are the people who voted for and against the Inflation Reduction Act. All Democrats voted for it. All Republicans voted against it. And if I go down here over to the H's, what will you see? Right there, Hawley, Republican, Missouri, voted No. So the person you're crying to didn't vote for the very program that's funding you right now. This is what happens when y'all F around and find out. I have for you is Scarface's No Tears. Tommy, I don't feel sorry for any of these people.
Yeah.
Will I feel sorry if he loses his farm? No, I won't.